Hello and welcome to the Cats and Books Club podcast. We are finally here. I am Izzy, and Aryn is Aryn.
I am here.
Sorry, I introduced you for you.
Rude.
So, first off, we're going to start with a cat update. Happy Halloween, everybody. My cat is Gemini. Well, the one cat I'm talking about is Gemini, whatever. Anyway, he's in here sitting in my pile of socks. It's a little box, and he just curls up into it like a little muffin in a muffin tin, and it's really funny. Aryn, how's your fatties?
So both Pippin and Aquila are sitting on the guest bed in the guest bedroom where I'm recording this with me right now. And Aquila is sitting on top of Sam's camping backpack. She's like, I want to go camping next time.
Just put me in here. Just kidding, don't leave me here. I hate the outside.
And then Pippin is being her normal pumpkin loaf self.
No. I love how cute they are.
She's so cute.
Oh yeah, update. Aryn and I, we have a Patreon. Link for that I'm putting in the show notes because I forgot everything about it. So we're doing that in post.
Also, we did do a scary stories video. We kind of derailed for a hot second off of our normal literary content, and we did a scary stories video. So we derailed for a minute off of our normal literary content. And Izzy and I did a spooky stories video that is on our channel.
Yeah, because we both have ghosty shit that happens to us, like, literally our whole lives. So this is more a therapy for us. But
exactly.
We know y'all love a story, so here we are.
Well, and for those of you who are interested, I am trying to divide our content into playlists. So right now we have a playlist for the Throne of Glass series. I started a series for the author D.N. Bryn, because I know we'll be covering more of those books as well. And then I started a podcast playlist where we are just doing like spooky stories and maybe even doing like some travel vlogs later.
And all that stuff, the travel vlogs and all that will probably be available both on our YouTube channel, Cats and Books Club. Wait, is there a pod at the end of it for the YouTube URL? I don't know. Anyway, whatever.
Sorry, Aryn is one brain cell.
Say 2 brain cells if you count mine. Incredible. We only have 2 brain cells.
I love that awkward
together.
pause. Okay, we're keeping that in.
Help.
That's funny. I'm sorry. That's funny. So, okay, I do want to say something about the Patreon. So the Patreon content.
It's just we only have one tier. It's $1. $1 Right. So that sounds like a good time to me. And if you want to be in on that party time, we're gonna organize some watch parties or something. We have a Discord too. I'll put the links to that shit somewhere. It's all gonna be in the things because we don't organize in advance. We're a very unprofessional podcast. What can I say?
No, we're not.
Yes, we are. Anyway, so back to being more professional. The book we're covering is book number what? 6?
Book number 5.
I swear to God, I thought it was 6. It feels like we've read 12 books already. It's called Empire of Storms, and it is in the Throne of Glass series. You might be familiar with it because it's all we've been doing this whole time.
I realized this, we started this podcast, we started the YouTube channel.
It's been a year.
In February. Okay, we started the YouTube channel in February. We were reading before we started the YouTube channel, probably in January or something. So we've almost been at this for an entire year now, which is pretty incredible.
And all the friends we made along the way.
We have definitely been working hard. We would love for you guys to join us. If you have friends that would like this, please have them join us.
Share, subscribe, etc. Thank you for your labor as a consumer. We appreciate it. You should get paid for it, but we don't have any money either. Okay, so Empire of Storms. Our whole shit show begins with a fucking flashback.
Yep.
We have ghosty, ephemeral Elena showing up.
Again.
Was that what? Right?
So, my first little quote that I kind of have from the kind of starting point. We know at the start that Lorcan is out on his own. He has decided, screw Maeve, screw the Fae Queen. I no longer want to be.
Okay, but we forget who
cadre.
Lorcan is. Who is Lorcan?
So Lorcan is one of Maeve's cadre.
Right. So he is one of the unnamed bitches who is in her squad.
Her inner circle, basically.
Right. And so he and Rowan know each other. They're like.
Mm-hmm. So basically, he has decided to go off on his own. He no longer supports Maeve. He thinks that she's power hungry, and he's kind of
going rogue.
I don't think so. He's going rogue, basically. And he decides to start hunting the word keys. So he actually has one part of a word key around his neck.
And wait, why does he decide to start hunting the word keys?
Because he decides that if Aelin Galathanius,
our main character,
he decides
of the worlds.
Yes, he decides if she is alive, if she truly is alive, that is who he wants to throw his weight behind. Okay,
so he's like, if she's out there, I gotta start helping and find her. But how does he know that Celaena is not Aelin?
He doesn't yet.
Right, so he's like, I don't know who it could be, even though Aelin's been there, like, literally the whole time.
Well, you gotta remember that a lot of the characters, even though we know that, a lot of the characters within the book still don't know that. At the beginning of Empire of Storms, they don't understand that Aelin and Celaena are one and the same.
And they were kind of trying to keep it from Maeve and all them because they knew that would be...
Right, they're trying to keep it under wraps that, hey, by the way, she's back, bitches. So
even though Maeve basically knew the whole time, but whatever.
Yeah. So basically, he is wearing one piece of a word key around his neck. And he is trying to find the other pieces of the word key because he knows that when they are united, that the gate between worlds can be opened. So he's trying to find all of the word keys.
Okay, so we have Lorcan. What's he doing?
Lorcan is basically trying to find Aelin. That's kind of his little outcropping in the book. He's like, I'm trying to find Aelin. I'm trying to give her the word keys so that she can, save the world, basically. Then we have a lot of groups in this book. Kind of like the other books where we've got a couple different groups and you don't know when they're going to merge.
You're
but when
skipping
they do,
around.
Right,
Yippity skippity. We don't know what happens first because nothing happens in any order.
And then, basically, Aelin decides that she is going to have, like, a little meeting. Like, she's going to have a meeting with some of the lords because she's like, I want to get people on my side.
Right, and which lords was this again?
She has a meeting with Ren, Murtagh, and then, like, a few under, like they're not named.
Right,
lords,
and
like a few other lords.
In whose camp exactly?
They're not really in anyone's camp.
Were they like the rebels?
They're kind of, like they're the rebels.
And they were against what? The king?
The king.
They were against the king. Castle, Dorian's daddy.
Right. So basically, she comes and she's like, put your stuff behind me. Put your armies behind me. Because I am Aelin Galathanius, and this is who I am, and I'm the rightful queen of Terrasen. And, it kind of doesn't go well. Because, as Izzy says here, I see in the notes, so this meeting, you just kind of show up and you say that you're the queen. Well, again, how are they supposed to know that you're really, Aelin, right?
Well, right. It's like, okay, first off, literally this bitch is just showing up out of nowhere.
Right.
Like, well, I'm here now, so
Right.
I'm your queen. And it's like, we did not consent to
Our
you
queen.
being
Right.
the queen. Like, okay, you have a birthright privilege, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. She stole all of the property because she forged a Robin
Right.
signature and then
Right.
murdered him.
Well,
What's her face murdered him.
Lysandra murdered him, but, right.
Lysandra killed him.
Right.
But so then she's like, well, I'm inheriting it, so like, it's mine.
And,
And it's like...
Yeah, and she kind of comes in and she says, look, you can either throw your weight behind me or not. I don't really care, but if you don't...
She does care because she needs them.
And she basically says, look, like, I am, quote from the book here, to call in old debts and promises, to raise an army of assassins and thieves and exiles and commoners to finish what was started long, long ago. With Aelin, I get it. We've discussed that she has a lot of trauma. And I think one of the biggest problems that I have with the series is that we don't get a lot of callback to the trauma. And I think if we did, we would understand why Aelin is doing the things that she's doing. I'm not saying that they're right by any means. Just going in and being like, oh, I'm the queen now. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying, I think, if we had like a little bit more callback and realized, she's got a lot of trauma.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if there was more like self-awareness of like, okay, I realize this isn't exactly the best way to go about
Right. It's like she has no self-awareness, which I think is...
I mean, that is kind of one of her main character flaws. So maybe that's on purpose. But again, we don't really know. But basically, she's mad that they're like, no, WTF, we're not doing that.
And she's basically like, look, like, you can either follow me or not. So basically, that's where we start the book, where...
Right. And they're all mad. They're like, fine. Rowan's like, I gotta hold her back because she's gonna kill a guy, and everybody's gonna kill a guy. Everybody's mad, pulling the swords out. Adian's there being like,
honestly, poor Rowan. I kind of feel bad for him at some points. So basically what we have Rowan, he's going to go off as a bird because he's a falcon or whatever he is. Hawk. He's a hawk. Sorry. He's a hawk. And he's going to go fly around and he's going to drum up some support for Aelin. And then we bounce. Here we go. We're bouncing around, but here we go. We bounce to my favorite.
Yeah, and this is chapter 3. Only chapter... There's like 50,000 chapters.
So, okay. Actually, it's more than chapter 3, because that was about... I wouldn't say a...
Anyway, whatever. Manon's storyline. We're back to the witch, Manon, and Grandma.
So, basically now, we have Manon and her crazy grandma. I mean, no offense, but good God.
No, she's a militant
really is.
grandma.
Like,
she's an emotionally neglectful and abusive
she's, like, really
grandma.
Crazy. I mean, no offense. Not my kind of grandma.
Well, that's kind of the whole thing. Their whole culture is based on have no feelings, no mercy for anybody, shut the fuck up, that's how you lose.
So, basically, we have Manon and her grandma, and again, we have this sort of battle going on between Manon trying to figure out, am I going to defy my grandmother, or am I going to support her? Again, she's walking a very fine line because she is the head of the coven. So the witches, and by witches I mean Manon. Well, Manon and her and company. The 13. The witches on their wyverns attack Dorian's castle. There's this sort of confrontation with Manon and Dorian. She does not attack him, but she keeps him alive. And then Rowan kind of shows up. And basically, there's this sort of... there's kind of always been this sort of tension between Manon and Dorian.
No, there's not. I disagree.
But anyway.
Shipping them together
Well, we'll get
accept
to that.
it.
We'll get to that part. But anyway, so basically, Iskra, who is one of the Yellowlegs, which is the other witch coven, she basically rats out Manon because Manon, by saving Dorian's life, like one of the Yellowlegs coven tried to kill Dorian, and basically,
right.
Manon saved his life.
Oh, so she ended up killing a fellow witch, but not from the same coven as her.
But she killed one of the Yellowlegs Lixes.
Like defending Dorian.
And basically, Rowan also killed several of the Yellowlegs, and she allowed that to happen too. And
right, so there's like a bunch of witches are dead. The blood's on technically her hands because she was like,
and so basically they want Manon killed. Petra from the Blue Blood coven speaks up for Manon, and the witch council, including her grandmother, talk, and they say, okay, well, Manon's not going to die, but you're going to kill your second, which, if you remember, that is Manon's cousin, Aryn.
And that's the one who had, like, a boyfriend that she wasn't allowed to have, and everybody, like, got separate.
Yes,
right?
yes, and Aryn's the one that had a baby, but lost the baby because it was stillborn.
Of course.
So it's this whole, it's this whole thing.
So she has like the moment comes and they're like, oh, we gotta, all right, what'll it be? And then Manon's like, psych, and then starts like fighting her grandma. Right? Is that how that happens?
But before we get to that, yes, Aelin has a dream about King Brannon,
which is like Elena,
the ghost queen,
bitch's dad.
I thought that was her husband.
Right. Oh, so
that was her. Wait, was it her
it?
husband? Oh my god, guys. Okay, side note, too many characters. How many times have I said that? I have said there are too many characters in this book. She needed an editor. Anyway, okay. So.
I mean, I'm sure she had an editor.
Well, not a very good one. Anyway, okay. So, basically, King Brannon, he comes to Aelin in a dream. And he says, the lock, heir of Terrasen, I summoned you here for it. In the stone marshes, there lies a sunken city, and the lock is hidden there. It is needed to bind the keys back into the broken word gate. It is the only way to get them back into that gate and seal it permanently. My daughter begs you. Okay, so Brannon is Ghost Queen's father. Sorry, you were right.
I was right. It's Daddy.
So basically, Brannon comes to her and says, look, I'm helping you out. Here's how you do this. And then we go back to the witches. And I am going to read this little, oh my God, this was the best part. Okay, so imagine it.
Wait, how long is
this? It's not very long. So imagine it. We have Aryn on the ground, literally about to be frickin' killed, okay? And then...
Okay, so this is no longer Brannon.
Yes, this is no longer Brannon.
This is no longer... We're back to the witches.
And...
With no warning, we are now talking about the witches once again.
Anyway, okay. So...
Okay. Now we can go that everybody knows what's happening.
So, basically, when we go back to the witches... we have Aryn's sort of point of view here. And what it says, the quote said... For a heartbeat, she thought of that sky blue mare in the eyrie, the wyvern that would wait and wait for a rider that would never return. Thought of a green, rocky land spreading to the western sea. Hand trembling, Aryn pressed her fingers to her brow and extended them. Bring our people home, Manon, she breathed. Manon, angled wind cleaver, readying for the strike. The Blackbeak matron snapped, Be done with it, Manon. Manon met Sorrel's eyes, then Aryn's, and Manon gave the 13 her final order. Run. Then Manon Blackbeak whirled and brought Wind Cleaver down upon her grandmother bitch's jaw drop.
Bitches.
Jaw drop. I was like, oh damn, I was waiting for that for like 5 freaking books. Okay, I was waiting for that.
5
I knew that was gonna happen. I knew. I was like, she's gonna kill her grandma, bitch, and she did.
I mean, you can tell. Curtains for Grams.
Bye, grandma.
Yeah. Oh yeah, she's dead.
She did. And then the 13 scatter. Like the 13, like,
I mean, low-key, kind of wimpy of her grandma to, like, just randomly die.
No, Manon brought Windcleaver, which was her sword, upon her grandmother's head.
Yeah, but I mean, come on, grandma. Like, you're a witch. What are you doing?
Well,
you didn't expect you would be, like, murdered by your fucking kid's kid? Like, that's kind of how it goes.
Well, she did it fast. But anyway, so then...
Well, yeah, no, but still, it's just like, oh, well, okay, so she's dead. How convenient.
So basically, the 13 scatter. When we leave the witches at this point, everybody...
All right, skip away from the witches. Once again, we're swiveling.
We're swiveling. That's why I have this note here that says, all right, meanwhile, back at the ranch...
Right, but which ranch? There are like 10 ranches.
So the ranch, we have Dorian and Rowan gathering forces with the pirate lord Rolf and Gavriel and Fenris, who were also from
the fucking
Maas.
pirate from book 1.
Exactly.
And book whatever else. But just they're like, yeah, let's keep bringing him back, even though, like, why would he owe Aelin anything when she fucked up his whole fucking shit? Like, I literally would have excommunicated that bitch immediately. Like, how are they still talking? I don't understand. But okay, we'll just believe this fucking reactive bitch's diplomacy skills were so good that we could just smooth over the whole, you had slaves and I released them and kind of tried to undermine you and maybe blow up your shit.
Okay,
you know,
so,
it's just water under the bridge.
So here we go. So there's a couple things that happened that I want to bring up. They are of note. Okay, so if we remember, Gavriel, who is from Maeve's forces, who also has kind of decided to throw his luck in behind Aelin. If we remember... Right,
just like another guy who you don't really know what it is. You just have to remember his name because he's in the cadre of Maeve's bitches.
So if we remember, though, that Gavriel is...
Don't worry.
Shut up. Okay. He is Edion's father. If we remember. I remembered that part.
Nope.
I remembered that part because I knew that was going to go down eventually. And their first meeting...
Oh, Edion's father is one of Maeve's...
Condre.
Mans.
Yes. And he has... So Edion has all this sort of not great feelings towards his father. I mean, considering his father basically...
I mean, did he ever know who he was?
And then, so basically, Selena... God, I keep wanting to call her Selena. See, this is the problem, guys.
Problem.
Okay, so, basically, Aelin makes a deal with Rolf. Rolf the pirate lord. He says, look, if I'm going to help you... I want to be an admiral. I want this entire land. When this
What's in it for me?
When this war is over, I want Lord in front of my name, as it was before my ancestors' names long ago.
I want another lordship.
Right. So
hordes of lords.
So basically, I mean, Aelin does make that deal with him and says, "Look, okay, fine. If you help me sack some of these ships, you can keep whatever gold and treasure is aboard those ships. I'll give you land, but no royal titles beyond Lord of Ilium and King of the Archipelago. If you bear any offspring, I will recognize them as your heirs, as I would any children Dorian might bear." And Dorian agrees and says, okay, we can deal with that. So, basically, I wrote, because look, there's this huge sea battle that happens, okay? That's kind of our first big, huge battle. It happens out on the sea. It lasts chapter after chapter after chapter. I will say she, as a writer for battles, I actually kind of use this huge, big sea battle that she has. Was
that the one where she's like, and then the arrows, and then more arrows, and arrows, and if you dodge the arrows, but the arrows were coming too fast. Did I mention there were arrows? Because, like, maybe don't base your battle scene off of hers.
It did need some editing. It did go on for quite a few chapters. I think a couple of chapters could have been axed.
Please let it end.
Yeah, anyway, basically there's this big sea battle, okay? And Lysandra is the one who kind of gives them, like, the best sort of foot forward, because she decides to shift into, like, a sea dragon, basically.
She's conveniently been practicing mythical creature shifts.
Yes. That we didn't know about, guys.
And now it's fine. It's fine. Just don't worry about it. She can do it. It's fine. But you don't need to see
anyway, Lysandra goes after all these ships. And...
Right. We've got the orcas taking down the yachts. We love to see it. She's coming in to the yachts. Gemini is climbing, squeezing his head into a box that is on the shelf. He wants to get in it so badly he will squeeze his whole fat, chubby body trying to get into it, and it's hilarious to watch.
I will say...
He's just really trying to get up into my shelves.
Alright, we get a little distracted, guys. But anyway, I did want to point out a couple of quotes from here. Okay, look, Izzy, okay, I half agree. So, Aryn and Lysandra's relationship, I have...
It's so bad. It's so fucking bad.
I have mixed feelings about, okay?
It's not cute.
I have mixed feelings
It's like, I could see why it happened.
Yeah, I can see why it happened. But again, with the editing.
Well, Adrian's a shitty boyfriend in general. He's just, like, randomly mad all the time about shit and is like, I can't believe you would do this. We're over. And then it's like...
it's kind of...
Just kidding, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's like, kind of back and forth. And the other thing that I'm not really, I don't know, she doesn't build up, in my opinion, this writer does not build up relationships well. It's kind of like, oh, they're together now. You know what I mean? We don't.
Well, right. That's my complaint about, like, Manon and Dorian. Is, like, at least with Dorian's, like, other bitches, you can see... Yes. Like, at least with the healer girl, you had some time with them together getting to know each other. But then you throw Manon in here, and it's like, oh, she saved him from one thing and, like, talked to him, like, when he was under the influence, like, of being possessed by a demon guy.
That is true.
And then during that weird possession time, he was like... oh, I want to bang you. And she's like, no. And then that was that. And I'm like, how is that a thing that was, like, a positive move towards them getting together? Yeah, I don't really understand that.
I will say one thing in favor of them. Okay, there was one person on TikTok who said maybe...
changes the game.
Well, no, but they they had an interesting point that maybe the attraction for Dorian to Manon was that he saw Manon as sort of an indestructible sort of woman. And I think for him, because of how he lost the healer and how fragile and, like, she was just human, you know? I'm not saying just human. I mean, she had no magical power. She wasn't...
yeah, and, like, he does have magical powers, so it's like, okay. Right.
Well, and I think for him, the next time that he would fall for someone, it would have to be someone that he saw as sort of indestructible. You know, we get some sex scene with Aelin and Rowan on the beach, which is kind of weird, because, you know, if you really think about it, it's like, okay, if you were fucking on a beach, like, that's not comfortable, okay? That's...
Yeah, it's like, I see why you might enjoy the idea of it, but, like, the reality of it...
like, no. Like, why are they screwing
it? Would be funny if the reality of it actually sucked, and they were like, wow, this sucks. Why did we...
Exactly. Like, why?
You know, like, that would have been kind of cute.
That would have been
kind of cute. They're like, oh, it's romantic at the ocean, and you're like, whatever.
And we're screwing in the... Like, okay, stop.
It's like, this could be the last time we fuck, because one of us could die at any moment.
It's like...
blah, blah, blah.
It's like, okay. So basically...
Okay, wait.
Oh, go ahead.
I have a quick question. Yes. Because when did... There was, like, another... Like, the wyverns attacking on the glass wall or whatever, and Abraxos was busting people. Is that like later, or is did that already happen?
So, in between the sort of Dorian and Manon romance and all the other romances that are happening, all three couples at this point are kind of like they've all come together. Great, lovely, whatever. Anywho. So basically, in between all these little scenes, we have Queen Elena that tells them, okay, find the lock for the word keys. So Etienne, Lysandra, Aelin, and Rowan, all of them set sail for Terrasen. Abraxas flies to the ship with a dying Manon on his back and lands on the ship, which is how Dorian and Manon
got during the
scatter.
Wait.
Yes.
How did Manon get got? Didn't she get, like, stabbed by, like, some weird monster in the woods or some shit? Or was that after she was, like, running away? No. Her, like, grandma got her abdomen or whatever.
Yeah, I think she got... Like,
and then, so she was bleeding out.
Injured in the... Yeah, they all the witches kind of ended up with injuries from the fall of the, oh my god, we gotta scatter to the winds, let's get out of here. I will say we've got another few things here that happen. We've got a few battle scenes. So there is this battle scene basically that happens where they're all on the ship and the creepy like bloodhound, like, which the bloodhound apparently is like one of the Valgs, like the king of the Valgs, like one of his bitches basically. And he comes down to the ship and there's this huge battle scene. And there's this whole quote from the Bloodhound. Basically, he looks at Manon as they're all, like, trying to, like, battle him. And he says, your second screamed when Erewhon broke her. So basically, you think that Asterin is dead. And I was, like, legit crying because I was like, like, Asterin's one of my favorites.
I can't believe you've done this.
What the hell? Asterin's awesome, okay? Like, I love her. And,
she's just a victim.
She pretty much is.
Which makes her boring.
Again, she doesn't.
However,
she does come out.
She does some stuff.
So basically, we have the Ilken, which the Ilken are also like these creepy creatures. Basically, like their description is like winged, humanoid face and body creatures. With like these giant claws, and they also come to the battle on the ship. So basically there's this huge battle on the ship, and it's kind of bloody and gross, and more stuff happens.
Arrows, did you dodge?
Yes, there's a bunch of arrow dodging in this, a bunch
what are we you know what, okay, here's the thing.
Yes.
Here's the thing, I don't give a shit about the battle, so let's Cliff's Notes past
so
it. What happens after the
battles,
battle? I don't really give a shit.
We have some more Dorian and Manon sexual tension scenes.
Because she's on there healing.
She's kind of like...
Because, like, her abdomen was cut, and then she
healing,
landed there with the injury. And conveniently, Dorian's like, oh, look, you can't do anything. Let me come in here and sexually harass you. Excuse me?
Well, I don't know. It's...
well, because she's not like, yeah, I'm into it.
I mean, she kind of was. Kind of.
Well, it says she was, but it was like, you couldn't tell. Because she didn't really invite him. He was just sort of like making advances out of nowhere. After he had just previously been like, we should kill her.
I feel like she...
Like, it didn't make sense how he actually felt about her. Because he kept, it was very unclear
what was going on. I feel like with her... It's like she's, like, fascinated by him in a way, but I don't feel like she's truly in love with him. No, she's not in love with him the way he is with her.
He's not in love with her either. None of that makes any sense. Like, what is there to be in love with? I don't understand. What did they do together that, like, bonded them?
Okay, not love, but, okay, interest. He is more interested in her, and I feel like she is just kind of like, yeah, sure. Okay, cool. You're interested in me. Let's do this. Like that's kind of how I felt about it.
Yeah, and like that's like not it. Like being like, well, I don't not want to fuck you isn't really it's. You know what I mean? Like It's like, I
borderline.
guess.
I don't know. Again, the romance in these books, it doesn't very much appeal to me. I will say...
It seemed weirdly coerced to me.
I will say, the character that I felt had the most growth this book. I remember Izzy and I talking about how underdeveloped we felt a lead was in book 4. And we just felt like she was just kind of there, not really doing anything, kind of being a victim. Again, another female victim, like boring, you know. I will say
Right.
I loved the character growth for her specifically because she and Lorcan do end up, basically Elite and Lorcan join forces. He helps her out. They meet.
They meet in the woods because she's like
Her leg is
fucked up,
yeah.
can't get there.
I will say for her, what I loved in her character growth was there is this scene that happens where she basically gets this feeling of like, oh my god, I gotta go now. I gotta go now. I gotta go now. Like she feels like danger coming basically, and says something doesn't feel right here. She slams into one or a couple, like one of the Ilken, which I just said the Ilken are like these creepy humanoid, like winged creatures and creepy, and her uncle Vernon. So they run into them, and this battle happens between Lorcan, Alid, and the Ilken. And Alid is basically, like badass. Like I loved this for her because instead of being like this like little tiny character on the page who no one cared about, she kind of becomes sort of this little female warrior, and she starts killing the Ilken. The Ilken kind of get her on their own though. And you know how the Ilken, you kind of get the sense that the Ilken just start saying shit that isn't true, but like you as the reader kind of sense that, but the characters don't, right? So they like feel like crap after the Ilken.
They're trying
to manipulate you and beat you down. So basically the Ilken tell her that Lorcan left without you and that the witch Manon is dead. And so she kills the Ilken. She's like, screw you. She kills the Ilken and she kills her Uncle Vernon. Thank God.
Which was actually just some other guy possessing
I believe
him,
so,
wasn't it?
yeah. That we have a bunch of really creepy possession going on. It's really creepy, guys.
But then it's like, okay, but like, was her uncle like actually shading her, or did she just...
Yeah,
you know what I mean? I'm like, or is it just, did she just kill the body of a
right,
puppet?
it's kind of the way we felt...
What are the ethics of that
it's kind of
exactly?
the way we felt about the king being killed, I feel like, because we're like, okay, was the king actually a really crappy person, a really crappy father? Or was he just being possessed by the Valg, and did that make him evil? So there's a lot of like borderline weirdness going on where you don't really know for a fact, like, is this character evil because they're being possessed by the Valg, or are they evil because they're evil? Like, they're straight up evil.
Well, and also that the solution to it is just kill them anyway.
Right, and there's no... Right.
Just to be safe. Just in case they actually are bad, you gotta just kill them and make sure. Which is like... That seems like not the right answer, actually.
And we do need to bring up, I apologize, I did forget this little detail. So, Manon also is revealed, I believe, by the Ilken on the ship battle.
Was it during the ship battle, or was it during the grandma? Because I thought it was during the grandma part, and she was like, "You're dead with a fucking prince."
Actually, you might be right.
And so it's like you're a kingslayer killing your relatives.
Because they made her, though. We have to remember, the grandmother made her. They were like, "Oh, kill all the Cochrane witches," and she did it, not knowing. I mean, and by she, I mean Manon, killed all these Cochrane witches, not knowing that she herself is Cochrane, and the last Cochrane witch, by the way.
Right, and it's like, oh, you're a literal queen now. Plot twist. You're the queen of Crocans.
Plot twist.
And then, wait, okay, I need to also mention something really annoying about Alid and Lorcan that I'll probably edit in somewhere else, but, there was a part where she was like, she wanted him to call her milady once a day, and I said, God, divorce this woman. That's a red flag. So I was like, that's the worst thing I've ever read in my life.
Oh my god, guys. Actually, I didn't think about that.
Then there's like, during like the fight on the stupid pirate ship, Lysandra and Adian are like fighting.
Yeah, there's a lot of like inner tension that happens between a lot of the couples. It happens between like Aelin and the rest of her crew. Like,
yeah, like fucking Adian is like, you don't give me commands, and she's like, I'll kill you, bitch. You weren't pathetic enough to enforce rank to hide
like,
from being
screw you,
wrong.
bitch. So yeah, there's a lot of drama.
And then they bang
drama
right after that. And I'm like, why are we doing this?
And then basically
Whatever.
another big battle happens. So basically what you need to know is that Lorcan warns them of an oncoming like onslaught of like Ilkin. And then
I heard your cat.
Akila, what's wrong, honey? You want to record? You want to be on the podcast? Okay. So basically, they're fighting the Ilkin, right? They're fighting the Ilkin. They're fighting Maeve and her crap, her people. And Fenris and Gavriel, who were part of Maeve's cadre, who have also decided to bail, right? So back to Fenris and Gavriel.
Right.
Because of Maeve's bind, they had been ordered to kill Lorcan on sight. They attack Lorcan because they have no choice. So Lorcan and a lead. So basically we have a merging of the parties, right? We've got Manon, she merges in. We have, Aelin and her crew merging in. And then finally Lorcan and a lead come to this battle, right? They enter the battle. Stage left.
Because they're trying to find
anyway. So
Aelin anyway.
Fenris and Gavriel, because of Maeve's bind, they have been ordered to kill him on sight, and they attack because of the bond. And a lead ends up stepping in front of him, and they bite her instead. And I will say there was one part, because, okay, look, out of all these couples, I
mean, that's really dumb, though. Like, why would she do that?
Because she loves him. But anyway.
Oh, she does.
Okay, see,
anyway.
Out of all these couples, I feel like Lorcan and Elite are my favorite.
Yeah, they're also messed up.
Yeah, now that you're mentioning it. But anyway, okay.
Well, because literally it said, oh, don't worry, she was 18. And I'm like, he's, 700? It's still weird. It's like, don't worry, it was after her first bleed.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
like,
think about that. It was...
No.
Yeah.
Like, this is a child.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. See, okay, this is my little side note here. Why do Fae characters always have to be like 500 years old? I'm writing Fae characters.
Yeah, couldn't there be like a newborn fucking
legit,
Fae?
I am writing about Fae right now, and they are 23, 25, and 27, and 30. Those are the ages, okay? They're not 500. They're not 1,000 years old. They're normal age. Human kind of life expectancy age. I'm allowed.
You're allowed to have it.
Okay, so there was one quote from Lorcan that kind of made me cry a little bit because, when I'm looking at Lorcan as a character, he is, I think, my favorite of the series. Like, he also has experienced all this trauma, and he doesn't really know what real love is, because he's so,
Yeah, I believe that he cares about a lead, for sure. She seems like she's literally too young to even know what the fuck is going on.
In that respect, I will give you that. There was this part, though.
She's like, I'm just trying to find
and
my queen.
There's this
really
part, though, where a lead kind of talks to him about, we could go back home and we could do this and blah, 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 blah.
What if we just run away together?
But he says before he like moves her out of the way, because he knows that poor Gavriel and Fenris cannot control themselves, and they can't help it. And before he has this like shield up around them basically, and he turns to Elide and he says, I wanted to go to Parenth with you, which is Elide's like land. And then he drops the shield, and then like basically poor Fenris and Gavriel, they like lunge at him because, you know, they have no choice. And then Rowan comes in and he's like, whoa, hold up. And then he's like, this ends now, and you two don't touch them. They're under the protection of Aelin and Galathinius. If you harm them, it would be considered an act of war. So so this is important though, because Rowan uses specific ancient words, the only way a blood order could be detained. So it's not exactly an override, but it's delayed for a little while. So it's to buy them all time, so that Fenris and Gavriel don't go for Lorcan's throat. Which...
it's just so... The rules behind Maeve's, like, what you can do, what you can't do, what you can fight, what you can't fight. Like, I feel like they just conveniently ignore the rules sometimes, somehow, and I'm like, I don't believe that, but it's whatever. I don't actually care.
Right.
But I care enough because it's like, I keep thinking, like...
Is this going to make sense in the end? Yeah.
Is this... Okay, yeah. Like... And then, like... Okay, I laughed because during that whole battle part, Aelin was like, I'm ready for this day to be over. And I'm like, girl, I'm ready for this book to be over.
Oh my god. Anyway, okay. So, I want to bring this up because I've noticed this trend of a lot of books doing it. Harry Potter does it. Apparently, Throne of Glass does it. There's several other series that other writers and readers in book circles have talked about writers doing this. Please, for the love of God, please, as a writer who is not published yet, but look, as a writer who has written, and I've been writing now since like 2020, please, for the love of God, if you are going to write about a minority character, I don't care if they're on the LGBT spectrum, or they're a person of color, or, I don't know, like, they're, you know, in the poverty, you know, bracket, please do your research. I feel like there is this sort of thing going on, they do it in TV too, where we have to have a token minority character that is just kind of thrown in there, and it's thrown in at the last second too. Like, there's never, not all books, but a lot of books, it's kind of like...
Okay, what character are we talking about?
We're talking about Edion. Edion is bisexual.
Oh, yeah. He drops that he's bisexual after he and Lysandra have, like, another weird fight or something. But she's like, would you ever love someone like me? Like, as in, like, someone who used to be a prostitute. And he's like... Don't worry, I love anyone regardless of their blah blah blah. I'm bisexual, and we're like,
first of all, why
is this the first time we're hearing this, and why do we never hear it again?
Not only that, why are you comparing being bisexual to being a prostitute? Like, it's as bad. I'm not right. You know
that's pretty bad, actually. I didn't really think about that, but just being like, it's okay. I fuck around too, But for fun.
Like, okay, and not only
but then he also was a prostitute, too. There's all these, a gun, go fuck people.
It's like, he was actually a prostitute because he was selling himself to earn money for the war. He was selling himself for secrets and for money and for blah, 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 blah. And it's like, again, if you're going to write a minority character, for the love of God, don't just mention it like twice and do it for shock factor. That's kind of what I feel happened here, and I was pretty disappointed.
Everyone's like, yeah, we have another gay character. It's like, we don't see any gay at all.
And that is my other thing. Now,
you just throw it in there and then you never see it again. He's back to being hetero. Like, what is this?
That's my other thing. Like, if you're gonna make a bisexual character, you need to show the bi-ness, in my opinion. Like,
I mean, maybe she thinks she did because he was like, I flirt with everyone.
But she didn't, though, because we have a heteronormative relationship here with him and Lysandra, which is fine. That's fine. But, you know...
It just feels like you introduce something and then do nothing with it. And it's like, you could have just not. He could have just been straight. Like, nobody, you know... It just seemed very confusing about what the intention was behind making him bi, sort of making him come out in that spot specifically.
Yes, and it's like, you know, we've got a war going on here. Why are we doing this now? In the middle of a war. In the middle of, like, literal battle.
Yeah, like, they could have literally talked about this any of the millions of other times when they weren't, like, fighting people.
Yes, so...
Like, this is not really... Yeah, I don't believe it.
Yeah. And it's just kind of dropped as if it's some sort of convenient, ooh, he's a minority character. That's how I felt about it. And
and it's just like this, I
didn't like it at all. I didn't like it. I'm sorry. I didn't like it.
Yeah. Could have used more gay from him.
Yeah, like...
If that was what was going to
be the intention. We needed...
And it was probably because everyone's like, why are these people all so straight? We're so bored. All the main characters are straight. You know, she's like, no, we got Aiden, because, like, look, he's bi. Look, he's totally bi. You know why? Because he was a whore, so it totally makes sense for him to be bi, because, like, bi people fuck, right? Like, obviously.
Okay, and the other thing, you know, we've talked about this, Sarah J. Maas... I'm sorry, but she has this problem of introducing minority characters and then kind of...
underdeveloping them.
Nehemia, in particular, she was supposed to be, I believe, maybe African-ish? I don't really know, because we don't really know. Right,
it was just like... yes, a tan skin and or darker shade. We're not entirely sure.
A vague minority that dies. Mm-hmm.
Right. Once again, a minority is dead.
Now, hold on. That dies to advance the plot of the main
white character. White and blonde. If you've read this book and have opinions, come on over.
And you're in a minority group, please come comment. I would love to know people's thoughts on this, because I have a lot of thoughts on this. Especially given the huge popularity that Sarah J. Maas has. Look, I'm not saying she's like a terrible writer. I'm just saying, again, overall, right now, I'm giving this series like a 2.5, like 3 out of 5, you know? Like...
Wait, what's 3 out of 5?
This whole entire series. I would say, you know... I don't know, guys. Anywho...
Like, I like that a lot of stuff happens.
I think the action is great.
The stuff that happens is sometimes incredibly tedious. Yes. And I'm just
I think I will say...
Why do I care about this? Please remind me why I care about this.
I think the action is great.
Except for the arrows.
Character-wise, you know, we just needed some help here. I don't know what happened.
Can we talk about Ansel?
Yes. Oh, God, yes. Do it.
Okay.
We're going to skip over because I had all this thing.
Yeah, I don't...
So stupid.
I don't think any of that really matters.
No one cares. We all get it. They all have screwing plots, okay? Everyone's screwing each other.
And it's very boring.
Blah, blah, blah,
it's not interesting. But if you want us to go into it more, let us know. We don't want to go into it.
We don't care. I mean, we sort of care, but not really. Anyway, okay. Continue.
So, once again...
Yeah.
There's a bunch of ships surrounding them. Was that before the ships were surrounded? Yes. And then they're like, who the fuck are all these guys? Oh, it's danger. And then Aelin's like, don't worry, they're not going to attack. And Lorcan's like, oh, this is not good. We gotta go.
Lorcan's like, we gotta
Aelin's
go.
like, you fucking don't move. And then everybody's being dramatic. And then they're like... And who could it be? She knew the wine-colored 20-year-old wolf's head's family crest. I know the freckles on her face. It was Ansel of Briarcliff, Queen of the Waste. And I'm like, why is she a queen? Shut up.
Why
and
is
then
Ansel
it's like,
5 books
This was literally
later.
from the first book. First book was the one who, in the desert, she's like, you should shoot her. And she's like, I missed on purpose and let Ansel get away because she was her only friend. But Ansel was like, oh, I was secretly trying to get your shit. And then now they're just friends again.
Yeah.
Because somewhere in the background, Aelin was like, I'm cashing in my life debt and I need you to bring me a bunch of guys from the wastes.
It was...
And the worst... Yeah. I mean, okay, so I'm so angry. When this happens, I throw my phone across the room. I am so mad because you remember from the first book, I was like, this chick never comes back. And she just shows up and then never comes back. And guess what? Other people probably said that. And she's like, oh, I'm going to bring her back. And I'm like, no!
We literally did not need her. I don't understand. Like, it's like...
I mean, it's like I liked her as a character, but I'm like, this is so dumb. And then what it ends up being is she literally just like... How does she even get the waste? The waste technically belonged to the Crocans and Iron Teeth witches.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
She is literally like, well, y'all weren't doing anything with it, so
I just took
now.
It. And I'm like,
that is not how that fucking works, dude. And she's like, well, I have an army and you don't, so.
Okay, look. No shade to... I don't know who the publisher was on this, and I don't know who the editor was on this. No shade to them, but my God, y'all did not, like... This needed editing. I'm sorry. It did. It needed editing. I
need to talk more about this scene.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Because I want to bring up... It also might not have been her editor or publisher, because she, like, an author, Autumn, like... They kind of have, like, the final say-so, so maybe she was just like, I don't care, I'm going to publish it the way it is, and I'm like...
Right,
yikes.
Which we know how that looks, Aryn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it doesn't work out for you guys.
I'm sick of this, I want it to go!
Okay, go. Sorry.
Okay, so she shows up, and they're like, okay, we're gonna negotiate some shit. They're in the fucking thing, and, okay, so Manon is like, sorry, the wastes don't belong to you. They literally belong to us. And Aelin's like, no. Like, I speak for the wastes, not you. And then Manon's like, I'm being played. And then Rowan's like, oh, she's such a hot queen. I love it when she hides things from me and then reveals the plan later and doesn't include me in any conversation. Because at first they're really pissed off, as they should be, that she just did all this weird rigmarole shit behind their backs, didn't tell anybody. And then they're like, literally, like, Ansel's like, well, they weren't looking after the waste, and we were. And then Ansel was like, Aelin said she'd gut me if I didn't assist. Luckily, I was already gonna help, but I'm like, oh, how cute. Like, what a nice friendship they have.
Like, what is happening? Like, what is happening?
And then they bring back the horse just for fun, and she's like, oh, look, it's a horse, and then that's all that happens. It's like, why did we care?
We didn't need that. We didn't need that. I'm sorry.
And then
I'm sorry. We didn't need that.
They were like, why did you lie to us, Aelin? And she's like, because I knew you'd say no. And it's like, this is literally...
Yeah.
Do not... Oh, my God. And then Adian is, like, leaving, and she's like, talk to Ansel about where to bring the troops. Like... Even though I never told you we were going to do this. Just like, here, have this job with information you didn't have time to prepare for. Figure out where we're putting all these surprise troops I got for you. And it's like, that's literally, I'm like, go on strike. This is like horrible workplace conditions. This bitch is treating you so fucking badly.
No, for real, though. Yeah. Like, the fact that, that's another thing I don't like it.
And then it was like, right after that the Adian being bisexual showed up.
It's just, it's just, so much of this, it's like, it's missing for me. Like, I feel like this book is just missing things, and a lot of stuff doesn't make sense.
Basically, they, like, coerce Manon, being like, well, we'll give you some of the waste back.
Yes.
If you help us get the Crocans on our side.
Yes.
She's like, I literally don't even go there.
And she's like, I
just found out I'm a part of this, like, a few weeks ago.
She's like, I don't even...
What do you fucking think I can do?
It's like in Mean Girls. She doesn't even go here.
She literally doesn't go here. And it was like, wait, I'm looking more at this. Okay, so, yeah, she's like, Manon is like, fuck you. And because they're like, you can just share the wastes with the Crocans. Like, the witches and the Crocans can just share it. And I'm like, that's a shit deal. I was like, girl, don't take it. But of course she takes it because what choice did she fucking have? And then, like, Lysandra's, like, threatening Manon with her claws, and it's just, like... And literally, she's like, Ansel won it through blood and loss and her own wits.
Yeah.
As in, she won control of the wit. And what I was like, this sounds like capitalist bootstraps bullshit. Yeah. They deserve it because they actually paid attention to it, unlike some useless tribes that used to live there, wasting its potential. What does that fucking sound like? That's fucked up. I'm mad at it. Yeah. It's fucked up. I am not on Aylin's side. Fuck Aylin. Yeah. Fuck her shit. She's a capitalist dictator, and I hate her. Yeah. Okay. That's what I have to say. And it's just like, oh my god. And then they're like, these witchers are so touchy.
Oh my god, yeah, I was like...
And I'm like, kill you on the spot. I am sick of you. I hate this main character. And it's just like, everybody's like, threatening her. She's like, it's literally my people's home. By threatening her, I mean they're threatening Manon.
Poor Manon.
And I'm just like...
Poor Manon.
Everything about this screams colonialism to me. Mm-hmm. This is so bad. Mm-hmm. And the narrator in the audiobook I heard gave Ansel a southern accent, and I was very upset about that. It was really bad. She was like, well, I'm a girl, and I have this horse. And I'm like, oh.
No, she did not.
She literally did it. Like, and it was like randomly in the middle. Like, she started talking normal, and then randomly turned to us. Randomly made her a stupid southern accent. I'm like, this makes me hate her even more. I'm just like so annoyed about it. And it's like, oh my god. And then there's like this map scene where Aylin and Rowan are having some romantic thing. And then it's like, oh, you could take it all from yourself. Or you could take it all from Maeve. And then Aylin's like, would you join me if I turned conqueror? Yeah. And it's like, what? No! Fuck being a conqueror. And then they're like, you are unifying them, not pillaging. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's bullshit! You are literally taking something that isn't yours. That is not unifying them. Mm-hmm. That is so... Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, don't worry, it's because I'm a good colonel.
Right.
I'm wiping out the corruption. She literally says, wipe out the corruption. As a ruler, I would bring music and books and culture. It's worth everyone dying for this, because they don't have music and books and culture of their own. They're just wasting their potential. It's
basically like she's turning into Maeve, in a way. I feel like.
Yeah, and she's like, I might just make myself empress if the label queen bores me. And then it's like, it does mention, perhaps it made her no better than Maeve or Erewhon. And I said, Correct!
Yep.
Oh my god, and then Rowan's like, again, like, I do love it when you lie to me and reveal your fucked up plans to me that I don't have a choice but joining in on. And I'm like... It's really hot, and I love it.
And I'm like, dude...
I love being used as a pawn by you.
You're, like, seriously? Her and Rowan are trauma bonded. Do you know that term?
Yeah, like, no shit.
Yeah, they're trauma bonded. Like, they're not like a, like, relationship. They're bonded through mutual trauma. Instead of, like, building a relationship on, like, mutual interests or things like that you normally would build a relationship on, they've built it on mutual trauma. Which is, bad. Toxic. Bad.
It's just bullshit. Aylin's, like, conquering all of it and then being like, and you can share it. It's like, I'm literally doing all the work. What are you talking about? You'll let me share it. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. If I don't do what you want me to do, mm-hmm. you don't have an army. Mm-hmm. So, like, fuck you. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. And then Dorian's, like, in Manon's room or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I literally wrote... I'm sorry, you can... If you need to interject.
No, go ahead.
I'm in rant mode.
No, go ahead, do it.
Basically, Dorian's there, and Manon is like... you stupid coward, you didn't speak up to defend me when they trampled my rights. And then he was like, I had a good reason to keep my thoughts to myself. He's like, I can think of better uses for my hands.
Sorry.
And it's like, that's supposed to be the lead-in to sex, and it's like, and then she's like, then finish what you started. And I'm like, that's like not consent. I know you're gonna do it anyway, you fucking asshole. But they're like, oh, but he has restraint, unlike the other greedy men. Even though this is literally, she's never been with another greedy man.
That we know of.
I
mean, isn't she like thousands
because
of years
it tells
old?
us.
I mean, I'm just saying.
This is my first time.
Ew, no.
And it starts being, well, then finish what you fucking started? That's the consent for your first... What? Like, no.
Yeah.
Bad.
Like, yeah.
And, like, their whole weird scene, she was like, oh, so good. And I'm like, no, you didn't want that. You didn't want that.
Yeah, that's... no, I don't like it.
I don't think you wanted that.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't really know why Dorian wanted that either.
Yeah,
It could have been cut out completely, and it would have been a better book.
I agree. There are
like, literally, their entire relationship should not exist.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's how I feel.
I agree.
Ugh, and then, oh god, and they used the words, she opened up for him like a clam.
Ew!
Literally, bitch. I was like,
I know.
And then it's like, it was like, this is a freedom and not a weakness.
No.
And then he's like, I wanted you from the first time I saw you. Which happened to be when he was like
possessed. He didn't know what he
controlled
wanted.
by like the other guy and was saying all this inappropriate shit.
He didn't know what he wanted. Like,
and then all she could say to that was yes.
Sorry.
That's not consent. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then he's like, oh, we're not done, you and I. And she's like, don't fucking tell me what to do. And I was like, I wish she'd murdered him. Like, I literally wish he had gotten killed trying to fuck her. I think that would have been very sweet justice. And I would not have been sad to see him die.
Yeah.
Like, Dorian was an okay character for a while, and he lost it completely in this book.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. It didn't make a lot of sense to put them together. I just feel...
It was, like, crammed in there.
I feel...
It just did not work.
I feel like there were... A lot of these couples are just kind of... It all feels very forced to me. And...
yes, very forced.
Yeah, I don't like it.
It's not. It's not cute.
It's not cute. It's not a cute look, guys. Not a cute look.
Oh my god. Sorry. This was another weird relationship thing. But, like, so... You know how, like, Rowan was, like, talking to other people? They're like, oh, you look so much better now. Like, his, like, cousins or whatever. And, like, his cousins didn't kill him, even though he literally went into Maeve's fleet as, like, a dude. And I'm sure she was like, fuck him up if you see him. But that just didn't matter. It's fine. Don't worry about it. And they were like, you look better now that you're in that relationship.
Yeah, also...
And it's like oh, cool. What a nice, healthy relationship you have with a fascist.
Okay,
how cute.
not even...
I'm glad that's doing it.
Again, I am going to bring this up. For the love of God, I don't know what it is with this writer. She brings in all these freaking characters, and I'm like, these cousins did not even... They didn't need to be there. Who are they? Yeah,
like, you could have had one cousin. We didn't need, like, 10 different guys that are all, like, the same level of developed.
Or, like, just, like, cut them out.
Just, you don't need any of them. Like, it's fine. I just have Maeve kill them herself. Like, she doesn't need fucking minions.
Like, yeah. So, basically...
They're useless anyway. They don't listen to her. Like, fuck them.
So, okay, on all that.
Like, they seem tedious, honestly. If I was Maeve, I'd be like, y'all literally suck. Get out of here.
So, on all of that note, do we want to get to the final showdown that happens?
Because we need to find the mirror.
Yes.
So, all the fucking backstory comes together when they find... somebody gets a vision and tells them where the mirror is, and they have to go get it. It's somewhere. I don't care. They go get it. It says... It's like... I don't know. Rowan's there. Adian's there, probably. Manon's there. Selena's there. Who else is there?
Basically, the main... plot point people are there, like Dorian's there, Manon, blah 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 blah.
Well, so they basically, this is like at the time that they're going into another battle, or is that later?
I think that might be when she's let's see.
Anyway, I don't, you know what?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't
Basically,
matter. It doesn't matter. They're in a battle. Selena and Manon get sucked into the mirror. Mm-hmm. And then they're witnessing all the crap about, like, what Nehemia, you know, Aylin's friend who died trying to do all this crap, basically goes and finds Elena and is like, I know you're looking for the person to fix this. I'm here to fix this. And she's like, no, it's not supposed to be you. It's supposed to be Aylin because it was her family that fucked it up in the first place. Mm-hmm. And by fucked it up, it's because Elena, it turns out, did all this crap with the, you know, word keys and sealing some guy, but, like, didn't ask anybody. Once again, another knee-jerk reaction of, like, this is what I need to do, and I need to not ask anybody or tell anybody about it before I do it, and, like, sacrifice myself into the mortal plane or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's like, her mom killed herself to make the lock, and then she wasted it on what it wasn't supposed to be used for, and I forget what that was, and I don't really care. Because it doesn't really fucking matter.
Again, not a well-developed plot. Sorry.
I don't care. So they're in it. They're looking at all the shit. You know, Aylin relives all of the roles that, like, Elena played somehow. Elena, like, manifested and carried Aylin out of the river so that a Robin thief man could find her. She, like, gave him a dream so that he could wake up and go out and get her. Sure. Fine.
Which also...
We knew that already, like, but we had to see it again.
It didn't. No, but it's stupid though, because it's like, why did you put Aylin in harm's way when you knew that a Robin was like a creep? You know what I mean? Like, there's just...
She was like, it was your only chance of survival.
Like, really?
She was
you
like,
couldn't,
thanks for
really?
fucking nothing.
You couldn't have found like a nice couple to go to, like.
No, because they were too far away. You see, it had to be him. He was the closest one. Oh my god. And then, so Nehemia's like, okay, well, since I can't do anything about this, can I help? Like, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. And they were just saying, like, oh, there's two branches of the magic people, and it's Rowan's family and then Elena's family. And then it's like, I need you to go to the enemy household where the two bloodlines will converge. And then, there's like, she will have the bastard's mark of Brannon. And I'm like, is she Harry Potter suddenly? What are we doing? Nobody talked about a fucking bastard's mark of Brannon. This is books fucking whatever. It's 5. I was like 6. It's not 6, it's 5. And this is the first we've heard of this stupid mark. I'm like, this is so dumb. Mm-hmm. And then it basically, she's like, you won't see Iwe again. You'll die there. And then she's like, what about my people? And Elena's like, I don't know. And then she's like, okay, I'll get ready for war. And I'm like, no! When Elena says, I don't know about your people, don't fucking do anything for her. This is not your problem.
Yeah.
That, and she literally was, to find that area where, like, the mirror was, she was, for some reason, wandering around marshes by herself, which, for a fucking princess, seems unlikely to me. Mm-hmm. They don't just fucking wander around willy-nilly with no protection. That's, like, not how that goes.
Mm-hmm. But basically what you find out through all this, like, weird portal magic that is happening with her and Manon right now, basically you find out that Aylin is the price to seal the word gate. Like, basically, she's being sacrificed, basically.
Yeah, like, she has to give up her
life.
Basically, I guess,
her
life and body in order to fix what Elena fucked up. Like, which you find out that, like, all of this stuff was not, like, really prophesized. It was just because Elena was doing a bunch of dumb shit that she shouldn't have done and fucked everything up that they had already been planning. And so now, you know, Aylin is rightfully mad because she's like, wow, you really don't give a shit that, like, I have to fix your garbage.
Right, it's like she's being a sheep to the slaughter, basically, is what it feels like.
Well, and they did add some, like, you know, lamb to slaughter references, yada, yada, yada. Mm-hmm. Manon was relevant in the mirror because the Crooked Queen just looked like Manon but was reincarnated.
Pretty much.
Or whatever. Which, again, as a Sailor Moon fanfiction, reincarnation's a big part of Sailor Moon. Also, Sarah J. Maas does not say that Sailor Moon was even an influence on this book at all.
And, yeah.
But literally, the plot is the same.
Oh, God. It is.
Like, the character names are similar.
See, I never watched Sailor Moon,
like,
so I wouldn't know.
Aryn, you should watch Sailor Moon and tell me. Like, we gotta talk about what things she took from it, because this is literally a Sailor Moon fanfiction.
Yikes. So basically, after all of that happens, basically there's this big battle at the end that happens between Maeve and Aylin. And she says that basically Maeve beats the ever-loving crap out of Aylin.
Right, so so after the mirror thing, they end up getting teleported back to the beach where Maeve and, like...
her cadre.
Her guys are there trying to get, like, Lorcan and a lead. Manon and Selena were there also. And that's when Maeve is, like, playing all these weird games with her cadre about whether or not they listen to her or not. And then she's, like, severing the bonds and everybody's bleeding and is like, fuck you, you're not loyal, get out of here. And then they're, like, sad, which is stupid because they literally didn't want to be...
She does it to...
in that position, but they were like, no, I don't want to listen to you, but I want to be in your shit, and now I'm sad that I'm not...
Trauma bond.
You didn't want to be a part of that. What are you talking about?
Trauma bond.
No, it's not even trauma bond. It's just, like... doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it was kind of... Yeah, and it's weird because when she severs the bond, like, she severs it with Lorcan starts, like, bleeding everywhere. It's like, Jesus. Like, dang, okay.
But it's like, he didn't even want to be under her control anyway, so he should have been happy.
Yeah, like, why are we being...
Like, sad? I don't understand why they're all so fucking butthurt about it. Like, y'all knew what was gonna happen. You made your choices, and now you're, like, surprised Pikachu about it. What are you talking about?
And basically, they put Aylin... And by they, I mean, Maeve. She puts Aylin in this, like, basically, like, ancient iron coffin thing. Specifically
they
crafted
torture
for
her.
It's, like, really creepy.
Throw her in a box.
And basically, okay, it's kind of sad, though, because, like, as much as I really don't really like Rowan and Aylin together, I mean, it's still kind of, you know, we've talked about how messed up it kind of is. I will say the part where she says that she says to a lead and says, tell Rowan I'm really sorry that I lied, but tell him that it was all borrowed time anyway. Even before today,
literally she tells...
knew it was all borrowed
She tells him to tell him, like, an entire book of shit. And I'm like, this girl does not have a notepad. I don't know how you're expecting her to remember all that. She's like, and tell him this, and tell him my blah. And it's like, he is right there, isn't he?
No, Lorcan, no. Remember, Lorcan's, or not Lorcan, jeez. Rowan isn't there.
That's right. Rowan wasn't there.
Because after Maeve takes Aylin away, Rowan gets to the beach, and he says, okay, here we go. Here's one of my favorite parts. This little plot twist here. He gets to the beach, and Rowan starts flipping the fuck out. He says, where is my wife? Because they didn't realize, but Rowan and Aylin got married in secret with Edian basically as their priest, basically. Not priest, but you get what I'm saying. Like, the person who witnessed, basically.
Yeah, fun how you throw that in there and we don't see
We didn't see the wedding. And, like, they get married, and, like, obviously, Rowan gets to the beach, and he starts, like, screaming and, like, freaking out. He's like, where's my wife? Where's my wife? Where's my wife? And, like, then poor Alid is, like, crying.
Is this the Lysandra Adian thing?
No! We find out that Astern is alive. Yay!
Yeah, because the witches do show up, and then Abraxos shows up. He's like, I found them and brought them to you.
I love Abraxos.
I know I was gone for a long time. I'm sorry.
I love Abraxos so freaking much. He's like the MVP of this book.
So, yeah, I know. I will say, but, like, the one other thing that happens right there at the end is, like, Lysandra and Adian have some conversation about how they're supposed to pretend to be Aelin and like bear, like Lysandra is supposed to pretend to be Aelin, and they're supposed to bear heirs because Adian's genetics
match with Aelin's
genetics. So then if they fucking have a kid, then it'll still technically be like an heir to the throne in Aelin's absence. And Adian's like, this is fucked up. You didn't tell me any of this. And then he's literally like, you could go to hell, you lying bitch.
Right. Like, people...
And I'm like all right.
Like, yeah, because basically they don't want the kingdom to know that Aelin has been taken by Maeve. They want to still pretend with the oncoming armies that are coming to support Aelin. They basically want Aelin, in quotations here, to be there. You see what I'm saying? And they want...
Right, yeah. And Lysandra shapeshifts into
Right,
Aelin.
Basically. And Edian's just like, I'm not... what in the hell are you talking about? Basically, he's like, absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is disgusting and gross.
Yeah, like, why am I suddenly a pawn in this weird scheme? Like, why didn't you tell me? You know, it's all this, like, bitches don't tell each other anything. And they're mad.
Right.
Because, yeah, communication's pretty important in a relationship, and nobody's fucking doing it.
Right.
But yeah, so basically, that's the end of the book, is like, Aelin's in a coffin, everybody's mad, Alid is like, I hope you suffer, she hates Lorcan because he sold out her precious queen, and she's like, I'm going with the witches, get fucked. And I'm like, yeah, honestly, that's the right move.
Yeah. And like, okay. So, okay, on that note, we are ending.
It's over. Oh.
We are ending this podcast here. We want to let you guys know we are again taking a little break from the Throne of Glass series. So yes, yes, we will be reading book 6 and book 7 so that we can complete the series. But what we wanted to tell you guys is that our next book, if you guys are reading and following along, our next book is going to be a gay Regency romance. I'm
excited.
I'm very excited for it. I actually
what's it called?
The way that I found out about it, I was like, there's a bookstore next to my work, and I kind of go there.
Aaron, so what's it called?
Hold on just a second. I go there. I go there a lot. It is called The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen. And let me look this up really quick. I'm going to look up the author. Oh, by K.J. Charles. So again, that's The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen by K.J. Charles. From what I understand, there is actually a second book in this series that this author has come out with. So we'll probably read that one along the line somewhere as well. So stay tuned for that because I'm definitely excited about it. It is a gay Regency romance, something a little bit different. And
please,
yeah, please. I mean, we will read Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash eventually, but you know, Izzy and I have
we're getting there.
Yeah, we're getting there. And Izzy and I, you know, we talked and we kind of like for a while there we were doing Throne of Glass like solidly in a row. And we found that we prefer it better if we can kind of take a little bit of a break between series books. Especially with ones that are getting to just be, I mean, like, I know, like, Kingdom of Ash is, like, I don't even know. Like, the last one of the Throne of Glass series is, like, 900 pages long. You know, we need...
I, like, don't think I want to read A Court of Thorns and Roses. Like, I think it's too long.
Yeah, I know.
It's already too... Like, because how many books is that even?
It's 5.
Oh, that's not that bad.
And then her other series, it's only a trilogy, so it's going to be 3.
No.
So... We'll probably read her other books as well. We just wanted to let you guys know we're not just doing like Sarah J. Maas. Like we're gonna do like some of.
We need to do something else.
So like actually, so stay tuned. So Izzy and I, we have like this rough like little podcast schedule that we've kind of mapped out. But like some of the books that are on here, like The Secret Lives of Country Gentlemen, that's coming up next. We want to read one of the next D.N. Bryn books, which is How to Sell Your Blood and Fall in Love. We have something really special planned for the Patreon. We want to read Red, White, and Royal Blue, and we're going to do that, and we're going to watch the Amazon Prime series that they made. So we're going to read the book and then do like a little watch party for the series. So we have a lot of exciting things coming up We're kind of branching out away from Sarah J. Maas, which is kind of like honestly a relief for a little bit. So anyway.
Yes, we need something else.
Yes, we do. Please, for the love of God.
All right. Well, is that you good? Is that about it?
That's about it. I just wanted to give people like a little bit of like a sneak peek of the next sort of thing.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. I know that was a slog. Appreciate you if you're still here. Until next time, happy trails.
Oh, and since we probably, I don't know if we'll be getting another video up before the holidays, happy holidays, and stay tuned.
All right. Bye-bye.